Hello, 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 everyone. It's Kim from K&RP here today. And yes, I have a very messy workspace because we're going to be making ephemera from scraps of paper. Today in southeastern Manitoba, it is 0 degrees Celsius with a wind chill factor of -6, which means it is 32 degrees Fahrenheit with a wind chill factor of 21. Some of you are going, oh, that's really cold. But to us, it's actually quite warm for this time of year. Winnipeg hosts a festival called Festival de Voyageurs, and it's celebrating our ancestors who traveled through the country and built it to what it is. And so they have things like the fiddling music, and they pour maple sap onto snow for like maple syrup. Um, Various things that our ancestors did, jigging, getting together food wise and whatever. It's a nice festival. But for this festival, they will create, oh, I guess it's probably 4x4 crates of wood, and they pack it really, really tight with snow. So then what they do is they take the wooden crate off, and people will carve incredible snow carvings out of these packed things of snow. And they're located all over downtown Winnipeg and into some of the more suburban areas. And it always seems that when the festival is on, we get this warm snap so that these incredible sculptures are melting. Also, with this year, I saw on the news that they're actually doing ice sculptures, and they have ice sculpture artists from all over the world coming and creating incredible sculptures. And of course, the weather is not cooperating with them, even though the rest of us really like this warm weather. Some of these artworks are probably getting damaged in this type of weather. Um, yeah, so that's kind of my weather outlook on the day. You'll notice I've got some worry beads to play with. My husband drew my attention to the fact that when I'm doing my opening chats and things, I have a tendency to really worry my hands. I'm not sure if that is due to anxiety or just the fact that I usually have something in my hands that I'm doing, or if I'm rubbing out my arthritis. So he suggested I bring a fidget thing. So I've got my fidget beads, my worry beads that he turned for me. He does some incredible wood turning, as I've shown you in the past. Um, these are beads he does single beads, and they're different sizes and different shapes. And we string them on a leather cord just to have in your pocket. Hey, Anne, I know that you'd rather, it's welcome here. I know everybody else is streaming today, but I figured I was just doing a whole week, and I have set up a schedule for my streaming. Now it's going to be Tuesdays and Fridays with random pop-ups, of course. But thanks for coming. Thanks for popping in. I'm just explaining about these fidget worry beads my husband makes because I suffer from anxiety, and I always have to have something in my hands to fidget with. So I was just explaining why I'm mauling these poor wooden beads while I'm chatting. I'm glad you caught me too. I'm just using up scraps this week. I have so many scraps, and I have a bin of solid colored scrap papers that I have used with the kids' programs. And I really want to start using this up because I have boxes. Thank you. He does, he does all the wood turning and everything for me. So I've got oodles of hand turned beads, various shapes. I have a friend who's a fiber artist. She purchases his beads so that she can have very interesting something like focal bits in her works sometimes. So this one actually is maple with walnut veneer between. He had a bunch of he makes blanks and then turns them. So this one he'd done a blank with, and it was left over from doing a vase. So yeah, I have fidget beads. So I'm going to be fidgeting with them on my channel instead of wearing my hands like I have in the past few. Yeah, so I can put these down now because I've got paper in front of me to play with. So as I say, a lot of these are bits left over from things that I have done in different kids programs. Some of this white stuff I'm just going to trim off and put lines on, edge and spatter, and use when I'm making my journals, because it's always nice to have your own lined paper. Well, I'll do that with some of them. Um, yeah, so I figured I would start with some of the green papers. If you don't have scrap paper like this, you can always use scraps for magazines. When I first started Meet Your Creativity, the group online, I was putting down prompts every day, challenges for people to play with what they had. And basically, I said, have a magazine, and we're just going to use a magazine for what we're working on or whatever we've got hanging around. So this is done on a double, uh, two pieces of magazine page glued together. And then I believe the prompt was flowers and leaves. There is some collage work with some paper books, like book pages and stuff. And I also used some coffee dyed paper towel. I really like the way that paper towel gives effect, and it's got some texture. So we cut out flowers from pages that had fonts, like printing on, with a different colored background other than white. So we used those, just cut out random circular flowers, drew a spiral on them, cut out the leaves and the stems. The leaves I found were on, you know how you get borders around the page quite often, or what have you. I just collected all the green. Some of them have text on them, and did this collagey type paper for Meet Your Creativity. So again, I'm just going to grab a bunch of green bits, and I don't care what shape they are. I'm just going to use them, and I'm just going to spatter some muck water on them because I've got muck water left. It's really a nice dark green now. Of course, you can draw lines. I've drawn lines on them, squiggly lines. Okay, we'll start with those. So if you don't have muck water, you can just take a marker, a pen, a colored pencil, whatever have you, and just draw lines down it. They don't have to be fancy. Just, you could do lines, you could do polka dots, you could do um, like cross hatch lines so that you go both ways. Let's take this mat out from underneath. I've got that there in case I want to do some cutting. So basically, I would just do something like this on this paper. Done. Fold it up. And I know that there's a really narrow piece when I folded it. So I will fold that so that's on top. So I know that I have to cut within that layer. And then I'm just going to cut out a leaf shape. And I'm going to just toss out the rest of this bit of paper. Although normally I would save it and use it for my books or something else, I really have to start thinning out what I've got. So now I have these 4 cute little leaves. I can spatter them with paint. I can edge them. I could take colored pencils to them and give them some shading. But there's a basis for one of the floral works that I do. I like doing a lot of floral collage. I'm currently working on, I'm doing a journal for Defy, and I'm going to do it floral. So I took a whole bunch of, I've got pieces, hunks of manila folders around. So I cut them into corners so we can have tuck corners in the journal. And I just leaves and flowers. And so those leaves that I just cut out, I would use in one of these. So I just build up a stash of leaves, flowers, what have you. This one I am going to take a nice soft brush, and I'm just going to put some of that muck water on, give it a couple of spatters. I'm going to do that with this one. Then I'm going to let it dry, and I'm going to cut the leaves out of it. And this, even though the background of the leaf is the same color as the one that I just did, they will have a totally, totally different look when you cut them into the leaves. I have this weird little triangle, I think that would just make a lovely little corner. I might just leave this is and then decorate it with, I'll put that in my corner bin, decorate it with some flowers and leaves. And again, this one I also am just gonna, oh look, I got paint in my tea again. Yesterday I was drinking muck water all day. My computer monitor is covered in mucky paint water. It's really quite fun. And then you dip your paintbrush in your tea. Oh, maybe my tea should move. Some people's children. Oh, goodness. Well, it's watered down paint, right? Yeah. Maybe I won't drink that. Oops. Okay, so I've got some spattered with the muck water as well as my tea. Let's just move that right out of the way. Not that I'm going to drink it, but it'll save the mug from getting covered in paint. My mug yesterday was totally covered in paint. So also with these kinds of things, I could cut them out and make umbrella things out of them. I could, hi, Darcy, welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm just showing what I do with my scraps and how I make my embellishments, my ephemera with them. I just spattered them with some muck water. I like having muck water from my painting. And then I am just using them for leaves. This one, I think I'm just going to take a green colored pencil and do some scribbling on it. And you don't have to scribble the whole thing through. You just do whatever. And seriously, it gives you wonderful, wonderful leaves because then they'll look variegated. They won't be a solid color. And again, sometimes I will cut these so that when I'm going to cut the leaves out of them, I will cut, say, along there. So they're all that length. Fold it into 4 and cut out leaves. And again, you get nice little leaves. They've got a bit of variegation on them because of the colored pencil. I'm not sure how well you can see that. Oh, let's find the camera. But up close, it does. It's got the bit of pencil crayon on it, so it gives a bit of a different look. And as I say, when you're using them in this kind of a cluster, when you're collaging with them for leaves, it gives a totally, totally different look. What have I missed? Oh, yeah, spatter. Gotta love a spatter. I think I should do that too. Hey, Mariah, how you doing? I'm just showing how I'm making some leaves for my collage work. I'm trying to use up all my scraps from teaching kids. I have bins of like construction paper and solid papers like this, and I'm just trying to whittle down some of this stuff that I've got. It's crazy how much stuff. So I figured I would quickly do up some leaves just to show how I do my leaves in various ways. The corner floral ones I'm doing right now, I'm going to be putting in a journal to go to Defy. You're going to put yours in the recycle bin? Your bits of papers? Is that what you're talking about? Oh, look, I didn't put this in. You know, some days. Yeah, they sit in the cabinet forever, don't they? I've got bins all over the place, and my kids are getting really frustrated saying, you know, Mom, if you die, we got to deal with this stuff. You got to start doing things with it. I just have such a hard time letting go of, you know, I know they need to go. I'm working on it, slow but sure, day by day. And I know because we know how easy we know how easy it is to replenish the stocks of scraps. It just happens, right? Like scraps just happen when you're a paper crafter. Okay, so these still need to dry. I'm just going to put them to the side. I might just drizzle a little pink water on them. I dyed some paper with my muck water left over from Friday, and the pages turned out really nice because I ended up pouring the cup on, and so there's nice dark spots, and it's all modelly. So then, like for the flowers, I would use like a pink paper, or I don't even know why I have the solid papers, people, because usually when I'm doing leaves and things, I use my painted papers. When I do my flowers, I use my painted papers. I think what I'm going to do is chop these up into rectangles, draw lines on them, and throw them in my line paper bin, because that's just going to make my life easier. And I know darn well that way I don't have to decorate them when it comes to doing leaves and things. Thank you for that. You're amping up to clean. You know, my daughter decided she was going to clean my kitchen, and she threw out all my canning jars. Yeah, Defy likes painty papers. The problem being is when I ship things down to Defy, it costs a fortune because I'm in Canada. So I'm going to check out that running red that I've been talking about to see what it's like for shipping envelopes and parcels through them, because if it's going to be cheaper, then I'm definitely going to. Yeah, the card stock definitely is great for. Yeah, I know. She threw out my canning jars. I was so mad. Now she phones and says, Mom, do you have any quart jars? Because she's canning now too. And it's like, no, you can't have my canning jars. I had to go out and buy them. But yeah, I do that with the file folders and cardstock. I use it. But I've got bins that I've got made of cards for making cards and tags. And I've got ATCs cut out and inchies and twinchies. She's married and living on somewhere else, but she has used my fabric scissors on paper before she moved. And she was the one. My husband does wood turning, as we know. And he does these incredible wood turned mushrooms. And his family in BC, we were going to go visit them in British Columbia. And he had turned mushrooms for his mom, for his sister, for our sister-in-law, for our nieces. Like, he turned mushrooms for everybody because everybody absolutely loves his turned mushrooms. So they were sitting on the kitchen table. And we got up a couple of mornings before we left, and on the kitchen table were these little folded in half pieces of paper like this with mushrooms drawn on them, and mushrooms were missing from the stuff that we were planning to take to BC. So, I guess she figured she came first. Both my kids were really bad for that. I don't know if your kids are bad for that, but if I was doing a quilt, I would get the line, "Oh, is that for me?" Yeah. So most of my stuff my kids have, but now they've got so much stuff, it's like, Mom, just throw it out. You know what, Anne? I'll be honest with you. Lately, I've even been using my fabric scissors on paper because if I'm in the fabric studio and I'm cutting paper with my quilt, the roller cutter and stuff, I will grab the fabric scissors. My 3 sewing machines and my serger, all of them are down right now. Well, my serger is still fine, but all 3 of my sewing machines have to go for repairs. And so I'm not really doing much with my fabric right now, except collecting dust. I'm collecting dust with it. Okay, back to scrap busting, folks. This one, I'm sure you can all recognize a brayer off when you see one. It's done on a heavier brown paper. I'm going to cut some flowers and some hearts out of that. I want to finish this page off so that I can start stitching on them. So I'll just take this piece here. And we'll see what we get out of it for hearts. Yeah, I can't throw things out. And we've had this conversation. I don't know. My dad grew up in the dirty 30s, so you didn't throw anything out. Anything at all. Oh, I like that. That's a nice one. That will look really nice with a little bit of stitching and then maybe a little floral on it. Something like that. Or is the heart? No, that would be a lovely little, take away the corner piece, but that would make a lovely little cluster or decorated heart. Okay, I love the painty papers are my favorite. Yeah. I don't know. It must be our generation because I'm not much younger than P, or we're very comparable in age. You know, if my kids could be reasonable when they came to help me clean and organize, I would love it if they did that. But then again, my my kids are both crafters, artists. They will phone and say, "Mom, do you have yarn? Like a certain color yarn?" Or, "Mom, can I borrow these crochet hooks?" And I never get them back. So anything that I have pretty much is fair game to them. I have a granddaughter that's the same way. Oh, these are lovely little hearts. Okay. I think I can get a couple more in there. So I'm going to go on this side because I like the teal. Turquoisey teal. That's awesome, Anne. I am not... When I was working, I was organized. Like, I had to be for the jobs that I had. But when it comes to my art, I swore that once I had space to create of my own, like without the kids being here and things, that I wanted a space where I could just close the door, because while they were growing up, I did the majority of the work at the dining room table. And when I was carving and things at the dining room table, I would have to clean it up and put it away. And I would get so frustrated that I wouldn't finish anything, because if I had to clean it up and put it away, I think I've got ADHD. Getting back to it, there was no way in Hades. Hey, Paula. Hi, darling. How are ya? I'm just using up scraps, using up scraps and complaining about my kids throwing my stuff out. and how frustrating I found it when I had to clean up all the time. Okay, I'm not going to get them all on there. So I think I'll put another blue one. Okay, I'm just going to glue these down. I broke down, ladies. I am absolutely sick about this, but I did it anyway. I bought glue sticks. And the reason I bought glue sticks is because my tubes for my liquid glue, one of them totally cracked on me because it was so old. And this one is on its last legs. So I broke down and bought these. My thing with them is because I try and recycle everything, I don't want to have to throw these in the garbage. So I had an idea that when I empty one, I can wash it out and then melt wax, like melt crayons into it. And then I could use it when I'm doing my rubbings on those texture plates my daughter got me. So I would have a nice broad line for doing the rubbings. Hey, Joni. How are you, hon? Welcome, welcome. I'm just trying to use up some scraps because I just have too much. Too much. So I'm thinking that if I do that, then I could have like maybe a mixture of colors, half orange, half yellow. I don't know. I'm going to have to try it and figure it out. But that's my idea, because I don't think that all this plastic, just because I haven't been able to go to town to get new glue containers, I ordered it from Amazon, right? Because it's easier than heading into the city. So I think that would work. We'll find out. Because, even if, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll be an experiment I do online with you guys. Also, because I'm doing those journals for Defy, I wanted something quick, because using the liquid glue, I have to wait for my glue to dry till the next day sometimes. What's for dinner today, Paula? I haven't tried that recipe you sent me yet. I'm going shopping for groceries tomorrow before I stream. Yeah, see, here in Canada, in Winnipeg, what have I got for craft supply stores? We have quite a few bead stores because of the Indigenous population. So I can go and get beads. We have Artist Emporium, that is an art supply store. They do have glue sticks and things. And Michael's, Walmart. I just, sometimes I just can't do Michael's. Okay, so I'm just going to take this pinky purpley one and I'm going to cut some flowers. I freehand cut so much of my stuff. I have a cricket, I have a cuttlebug, I have dies and whatever. I just like my freehand cuts. Sounds good, Paula. So I'll just cut that in half because that's pretty big. And then I just wobble cut. Me and my wobble cuts. I know. Just makes it easier. And yeah, I'll have 4 of the same shape, but they certainly won't be all the same because of the model-y paint colors, right? And then I will turn these into flowers and I'll show you how I do that. I was watching a live today and they were saying something on the live about being a crafter or an art person. You see somebody else making that and you go, oh, I can make that. I'm kind of the same way. I don't have digikits. I do have some of my own things that I have put onto the computer. But I haven't purchased digikits, stencils. I mean, I'm on a fixed income. I'm retired. So I have to be pretty frugal when it comes to my artwork. Okay, so I've got these. Can you see them on the brown paper? Maybe not. Maybe I need the yellow thing down. My husband melted my cutting mat. He put a hot pot on it. So I've got husband's in the kitchen, Okay, so I've got 8 flowers. I'm going to take a black marker with a decent tip if I can find one. Okay, that's not bad. I'm just going to use a Sharpie marker. Dots in the center. I can always add white marker to them after. And then I kind of see where the petals are. Just draw a line out to the petals. And again, markers don't often like paint, do they? So it just gives a bit of definition to where the petal lines would be. And I do that to all of them. And yeah, I know that I could buy DigiKits and all I'd have to do is cut them out and it would be fast and simple. For some reason, I think this is more cost effective for me, but it's time, right? Like, even when I was selling my crafts, I never counted my time in. And I know that other crafters and artists would be going, you can't sell it for that cheap. Well, the thing is that I make so much stuff and I have to be making stuff that when it comes to selling it, I just want it gone. No, it doesn't ship in 2 days anymore. So now I'm just taking a white pencil and I'm just going to make the edge a little bit lighter on all of these. Just scribble around it. Nothing fancy. Nothing fancy. It just lightens the edge. And then I will take a white gel pen and just do little stameny lines in the centers. This isn't the one that I added white to, obviously. This one was. And then I will just do all 8 this way so that when I'm doing one of my floral clusters, because I use odd numbers, I'll use either 3 or 5. In the cluster. So I think that's kind of a cute little flower. The thing being is when it's in a cluster, people aren't really going to look overly, much at what you've done. It's just the effect. So I will continue to do those. Yeah, Joni, when I was doing craft shows, I was bad. Like, how kids will come up and they want everything, and their parents don't always buy them everything, or they get a loony or a toonie to spend, whatever. So I always made sure I had something for the kids. But I made those like little crocheted cats. I don't know if you've seen. I don't have any with me right now, but they were like fit in the palm of your hand kittens. Very cute. And I sold so many of them, but those and the finger puppets I did, kids would love them. But of course, so I would say, if you sing me a song, you can have it. Because it's not often that you get something for a song. And it's actually quite fun because I was doing that with some kids at one of the craft shows that I was at. And one of my friends is a choral instructor, and she happened to be there. And she says, well, if I sang you a song, would I get something? I said, sure. So she sang a song, and it she took one of the wire trees that I do, the tree of life, wire wrapping trees. Yeah, snobbish, right? Yeah, artisan instead of homemade, definitely. But here, homemade is really coming back. Like, you see a lot of homemade kids' toys. You see a lot of homemade, like they really like the thing about it being homemade because they believe it's a better quality than a lot of the purchase stuff you have. I'm way off camera here. I've been collecting too much stuff. Like, I'm going to use these flowers I did Friday, and trim them out and back them with some of the white paper that I've got and use them as pockets and tucks for the journals. These umbrellas, I had been doing a prompt along with probably Create with Becca, and prompt was use an umbrella, or maybe it was my own prompt. I don't know. I've been doing so many prompt games lately. So I had a bunch of umbrellas left, and so I made twinchies out of them. Yeah, price like garage sales. Isn't that horrible? Right, right. And it's quite like that here too. You definitely have to have the labeling saying that it's not for kids under 5, especially if you do something like those little Goonie birds I do with the googly eyes. You really have to specify about choking hazards and things. The little kittens I made, same thing, not meant for kids under 5. I also did crocheted monsters. I had a grandchild that had an issue with monsters under the bed. So I made him his own monster to protect him. And so he would put that just at the edge of his bed when he went to sleep at night to protect him. Yeah, some of those things are under 12, under 10. It is, it's crazy. But too, in the States, you have a higher rate of legal actions, like getting sued and stuff. It's not quite that bad in Canada. But yeah, I've stopped even selling at the local museum. I don't want to have to make have the inventory that it takes to maintain the craft shows and stuff. This way I get to play and I'm just doing it for me. Not busting my stash much. I'm chatting. These ones I'm just going to do long, tall flowers, like throw it out, Kim. It's gone. Lollygagging. Yes, bad, Kim, bad. I know. I was doing a big craft sale in a city on the other side of the province. A girlfriend and I were splitting a booth, and we were doing a shared booth all on snowmen. So I was doing crocheted bookmarks so that the body was flat and then the arms and the head sticking out of the edge were round. And I was doing hundreds of these bookmarks and finger puppets, crocheted finger puppets. And I damaged my hand by it. I got that de Quervain's syndrome in my thumb, and it lasted forever. Like it still to this day, I can only crochet for a limited length of time because it's just so hard on me. No, then it becomes a job, doesn't it? I mean, when I was doing the museum, I would have a couple of dozen of each thing, but I had a variety of things at the museum. As everything from my jewelry to tags, crocheted and knit dishcloths, pot holders. I was lucky that because it was a Mennonite museum, if it was kitchen stuff or whatever, I could have pretty much anything I wanted in there. It's kind of sad when your hands don't want to cooperate with you anymore. Darcy, I get that, but sometimes I get on a kick. Like those floral cards, I probably could have just made two or three, but I must have made probably 30 or 40 now because they seem to, everybody kind of likes them. So I send them out in Happy Mail and in my swaps. I'm I guess I am still very much in the habit of making multiples of things. But then when you're journaling, it's nice to have multiples of things because if, like I'm doing that journal, the journals for Defy, stop with the hands. The journals for Defy, I'm doing floral themes, so then I want more flower stuff. When I do my other journals that I just do for random things, I do multitudes of things. I do florals, I do my Goonie birds, I do the buildings, anything goes in them, not just flowery kind of stuff. Yeah, it can end abruptly. My thing is that I love doing the gel prints, but I don't do my gel prints to frame. I've never found anything that I really. The other thing being is I paint directly on my walls, so not too much gets framed and hung up because they're already painted in hot air balloons and butterflies and things. So for the gel prints, and even when I was doing my paint pours, I didn't have much that got framed. Yeah, things have to be made differently. That's why I like these floral things because I never get the same leaves or flowers. They're always different. And I have to admit that I've got a lot of gel prints on paper, book pages, etc. But I really, really, really like using the stuff I do on tissue paper more than this. Yeah, Darcy, I scanned some of mine too. Um, I don't have the quality prints like P does or Paula. Like you, I don't have the patience, which is very strange, but I don't have the patience to do layers and layers and layers, which is weird compared to, I do this fiddly little stuff, but I have, yeah, I rip them up before I scan them too sometimes. But when I do journals, I like to have things to tuck in the pockets. So I will scan my pages and cut them so that I can have stuff to tuck in pockets. Aside from all these little fiddly bits that I, like the umbrella twinchies and things. Always looking for pocket stuffers. Yeah. So, like I say, I love doing the gel prints. I can spend an entire 2 days solid making prints, but then it's like, what do you do with them? I've got stacks and stacks, and yeah, I've got some that I have used as journal covers. I've got some that I use in the journals, but I'm creating more gel prints than I am using them. Oh, look how mucky I am. So yeah, yeah, the tissue, something about the lightness of it. Like this one, I can't even remember what the heck I was doing, but this was like a pre-pull or something. But when you look at the wrinkly textures and everything, I just love that. It almost looks like trees. But I'm pretty sure that this paper was, in fact, yeah. Tissue paper I get usually comes in a gift and then I save it. So this was obviously crumpled up in a bag somewhere, a gift bag, and I rescued it. But that will make incredible leaves. Absolutely incredible leaves. Joni, I love those little birds you did. I could do that too. I should make some of those little funky chickens. I'm low on my chickens. And also I've got some of my Goonie birds. I want to do a kids book with Goonie birds. But again, these are, gel prints with, I can spend days making birds. They're so much fun because they don't have to be real, right? I just love making Goonie birds. Like I say, I was thinking of doing a kids book with them. One day I'll get to it. But yeah, gel prints. The one with the glasses. That's Edna. Edna the eagle. And I love alliteration. Thanks. You know, when I first started doing Goonie birds, I did them out of magazine pages. I would look for texture, not necessarily pictures, but texture. So now having all my gel prints, I've got my own texture. But she's got bows. So when I was creating my little peckers, I wanted, because everybody loves my Goonie birds, I thought maybe I could try and make a set of dolls, Goonie bird dolls. Like I have a whole line of just Goonie bird whatevers. So that's why I started doing the little peckers. But there again, look at these little bits. Like, why am I saving little bits like this? I have so much. sell the patterns for them. The patterns for like my little wonderful Harry Violet. And I've got some the nice, very nice, like the crocheted patterns for my little peckers. They're all upstairs. I had to take a picture of the whole flock. Call them something else though. Yeah. They could be mini Goonies, maybe. I don't know. But so I've got my crazy birds. But you do them, and I did have an order for a Goonie Bird journal. So I created all new Goonie Birds for her journal. My original ones were done on cards, and I did take them to Staples and have them printable kits. Oh, Peepers. Peepers is good. Peepers. I have to write that down. Yeah, I know it means something else here too. I was in a raunchy mood that day. I think possibly one of my grandsons ticked me off, and that's the first thing that came out of my mouth when I was making them. Okay, they'll be Peepers now. But those in the know that they were something else at first. Black and white patterns would be fabulous. So, what I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So, draw out wings and stuff in black and white, like just on paper, and people can cut them out and like on gel prints or things. That could be very interesting. I wonder if I could do that digitally, because I freehand cut all this stuff. So I guess if I freehand cut it, edged it in black, scanned it, I would have them. Mix and match Peepers. That could be fun. Okay. I'll definitely have to try it. Eyes, beaks, and wings. Mix and match. Yeah. And just black and white. You could be my beta testers. All right. I have Paula's address. Yes. I could. Okay, I will draw up. I'll cut and trace and draw. I'll cut, trace, and draw up a couple of papers of bits, and I can put them in, take a picture of them and put them as a PDF in my Facebook group. Make your own Becker. Paula, my niece is in her 40s, and she found a crochet pattern for a 6-foot pecker. And she asked me to make it for her. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get this to you on the other side of the country? Like, And yeah, I used to crochet those Peter heaters way back when that was a thing too. Anyway, back to the birds. There could be a market for that. So I will do that. Maybe that's what I'll play with today. Knit your own pecker. I've got crochet pattern for it, Paula. I wonder where that pattern and it came with a story about your Peter heater. Oh, I'm gonna have to find that. Okay. Naughty chair. Okay. Me or you? Or all of us? I don't know. Okay, so I will do that. I will draw wings and I'll make some. And I'll do it. And then nose mitten. I don't know. It could be. It could very well be. And the bad thing, Paula, is I made them for a couple of people for Christmas and I stuffed them with walnuts. Yeah, I'm a little off the wall. So back to this. I will do them and scan them into my computer and send them to you by PDF. And then you could print them and test them. What do you think? Yes. I didn't take measurements. Some of them were a little on the small side. I was rude. Okay, I will do this. That's right. Not so subtle threat. Wow, this is really taking a dive, hasn't it? I love you guys. I will do Goonie Bird skeleton things for you. And I will send it. I think I've got you on Messenger too. Yeah, please send us your pecker. I know when the chat is only a few, it kind of goes south. I do have the naughty crowd in chat today, and that's okay. I did this so that it wasn't meant for kids. I make sure I check that box because I never know where I'm going to run. Is it Janet Young who says that she's got the humor of a 12-year-old boy? Yeah, I can relate. So, Anne, you want this? Joni, do you want it? Paula? I don't have Darcy's. Yeah, when tired. Oh, yes. Tired is tired and okay. So I will send it to Paula. And Joni. And Anne. Okay. And I think Darcy's gone. I'm not sure. Darcy, are you still here? Yes, your art kids would love those. What about we can be flipping birds here and there? We can. We definitely can. Good old sign language. How about like Paula, if I sent it to you, do you have a way of enlarging it? Like, will your printer enlarge things so that they could cut them out and make their own? Some of the fabric, though, like if these little legs and things, I don't know. You would have to use an interfacing behind. But if you did them out of felt, they kind of stick to each other, so you could have new critters every day. Okay. I will send you. I'll do it for like maybe 4 different shaped bodies and then various wings and tails and stuff. That could be fun. And when my sister first, she has one of those fancy dancy embroidery machines, and she had one for doing dolls for on the fridge, magnetic dolls. They were very cute. I don't know that these would necessarily work. There would be too many choking hazards with the little eyes and things. Very cool. Well, I didn't get very much scrap busting done today, folks. I was too much having fun with the show and tell. Just in time for Easter, too. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Okay, so I will cut out bits and trace them and scan them in and get them to you. And then we could have fun with that. I had fun too. Thank you for coming. You know, that could be fun. Actually, what I was thinking of doing is taking a Goonie bird. I have a lot of paintings from when my daughter was doing those paint nights. And I was thinking of maybe doing like fish or the Goonie birds and putting them onto a canvas with fabric and then doing some embroidery and beadwork on them. That could be fun. But yes. Okay, it has been an hour and I try and stay within my hour. I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to be playing with those scraps in the bin that I drizzle muck water and stuff on. So it'll be Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday crafternoon. And I'm going to be here every day this week because I'm really trying to use up stuff and like that. So thanks everybody for coming. Love you lots and take care. And maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again. Bye.